Hello everyone, welcome back. Savages here, coming back with a new part of what if deku was like Toji. Now, let's just get right into it, shall we? Today I'm feeling as excited as ever and as crazy as ever. Now, where we last left off, Midoriya have managed to beat up Shinso and giving him quite a reality check, telling him to work on his body because working on his quirk won't gonna save him in every battle. And right now, Midoriya is waiting for his next turn, and when its time finally comes, Izuku starts walking down the hallway before he gets stopped by somebody. He knew that this guy was coming. He felt the heat in the air and he felt his presence coming, but he just didn't know that that person was going for him exactly. As Midoriya looks in front of him to see the number 2 hero, Endeavor, burning and standing with all of his bright light and heat. As Endeavor said, "You're the kid from Class 1A that managed to win the first 2 matches." As Midoriya looks into him, he tried to say, "Yes, so? You want something?" As Endeavor said, "It's quite impressive what have you managed to accomplish. Being quirkless and all, which I still do not find believable. But so far they did not see anything from you. So I have no reason not to believe that you're quirkless." As Midoriya said, "Wow, you're actually saying that I am doing well? That's a rare compliment coming from you? Don't get me wrong, it's just I never knew that the number 2 is capable of compliments." As Endeavor said, "I know the strength when I see it. But even though that you're strong, that doesn't mean you'll be able to beat Shoto. Although you might give him a good of a challenge, perhaps. Maybe a training dummy." As Midoriya suddenly feels a weird feeling in his stomach. He gets sick all of a sudden. And now he just hates this conversation. He knew it will end up like this, but he didn't expect it to go so quickly. As Midoriya said, "So, what do you want? Get out of my way." As when finally Midoriya walks past Endeavor, Endeavor told him, "Force my son to use his fire." Is that understood? As Midoriya stands in his way, stops in his way, and looks behind into Endeavor, saying, "And why would I do that?" As Endeavor said, "Why indeed? If you are truly as strong as you claim to be, show me that strength of yours." As Midoriya chuckles a bit and said, "You think your son can beat me, don't you?" As Endeavor said, "I don't think. I know that Shoto is far stronger than you." As Midoriya said, "Quite funny. That is what he just told me a couple of minutes ago." "Well, how about a deal? A bet, if you will." As Endeavor suddenly gets intrigued, he's like, "A bet? What are you offering?" As Midoriya said, "Here is my offer. I'm gonna beat your son and force him to use his fire. And in return, you will gonna send me an internship." As Endeavor, shocked by his offer. This kid is saying that he gonna beat his prodigy, his perfect creation, Shoto, and not only that, force him to use his fire? As Endeavor said, I don't know if you're just crazy, or are you just that much of an egotistical maniac?" As Midoriya said, "I'm not crazy, neither am an egotistical maniac like some other people. I just know my power and how strong I am. And I'm telling you that I'm capable of beating your son. What's the matter, Endeavor? You scared that I'm right? Are you scared that this quirkless kid will be able to beat your son? I don't see why you would refuse my offer. It seemed quite the nice offer from my point of view. You want your son to use his fire, don't you? Well, here I am telling you that I'll force him to use his fire. But in return, I want an internship." As Endeavor looks into Midoriya and said, "And why do you exactly want an internship from me?" As Midoriya looks at him and said, "It's simple. I know that I won't gonna gain as much internships as anybody else, even if I win this whole thing. And that's why I need to secure myself an internship. And that's why I want you to be the one to send me that. So what do you say? A deal?" As Midoriya held his hand in front of Endeavor, to shake it. As Endeavor looks into Midoriya, he sees that look in his eyes, the confidence, the strength, and the weird feeling of Midoriya is just odd. He's an anomaly. Endeavor knows it. And he knows that this kid has something more under his skin. So he shakes his hand, saying, I do not believe that you could possibly beat Shoto. But if you manage to actually make him use his flames, then I'm gonna give you an entranceship. As Midoriya said, I promise you that. As both of them let each other's hand go, and Endeavor apologizes for wasting his time, and walks away, while Midoriya just looks very disgusted a bit from Endeavor's talk and how confident he is in Shoto. Oh boy, he'll gonna enjoy blasting his world into... Man, he'll just gonna enjoy the look on those two faces of Shoto and his daddy. In the end, Midoriya goes and enters the ring, and Shoto looks into Midoriya. He wonders what got him so late, and Midoriya is like, apologies, your dad just kinda stopped in my way. As Shoto said, let me guess, he told you to make me use my fire? As Midoriya said, not exactly. More like, he said that I'll be a good training dummy for you for when you're gonna have to fight Bakugo. As Todoroki said, sounds about like my old man. As Midoriya said, well, that's beside the point that I made a deal with him. As Todoroki said, what do you mean? As Izuku said, it's simple. I'm gonna have to make you use your fire, that's all. As Todoroki said, are you really going that low, Midoriya? As Izuku said, hey, don't blame me. You don't know the full story. Anyway, as Midoriya and Todoroki are chatting, finally Midnight's made the battle begin as Todoroki immediately blasts ice on Midoriya, and Midoriya dodges immediately, quickly, as Izuku looks into Todoroki and, well, again, taunts him, saying, was that your best? Come on, shoot more of that ice on me, and make sure to aim right this time. As Todoroki shoots another wave of ice on Midoriya, Midoriya dodges it again, as Todoroki starts blasting ice left and right on Midoriya, while Midoriya keeping his distance and dodging, giving himself enough time to react. But in the end, when Todoroki thought he caught Midoriya off guard, he hits Midoriya. But the smoke fills the air. As, of course, ice smoke. That's caused from Todoroki hitting his ice with another pile of ice that has been left around. As when Todoroki, well, wipes the smoke away, he looks left and right. He doesn't see Midoriya anywhere. As he said, where did he go? As when he looks left and right, he sees the pile of ice that he made. He wonders in his head, saying, wait, did he make me use my power to cause as much ice as possible to cover for himself? As suddenly from behind, Midoriya comes to kick Todoroki, but Todoroki in that mere second barely dodges it, as he got hit in his arm, but then he blasted Midoriya with an ice that froze his arm after grabbing him, as Midoriya jumps back away from Todoroki, and Todoroki holds into his, well, right arm, which is his, of course, his ice arm. Feel his bone is a bit cracked, perhaps. He feels pain in it. As Midoriya looks into his own arm that is covered with ice, immediately Midoriya, well, hits his arm on the ground, breaking all the ice on it, as he shakes his wrist to clean it off, saying, was that the best of you got? I trained far harsher than that in the forest. As Todoroki looking into Midoriya, saying, you're trying to break my right arm, so I have to use my fire? As Midoriya said, yeah, that is the plan. As Todoroki said, why are you following my father's orders? As Midoriya said, I'm not following your father's orders. All what I'm doing is trying to get myself somewhere. As Todoroki said, get yourself where exactly? As Midoriya said, to the top, obviously. You would never understand it, because you were born there. You were born on the top with the strongest quirk possible. You had everything delivered to you since your childhood. Yeah, perhaps your childhood was a bit messed up, but that doesn't give you the right to discriminate your power like this and abuse it. As Todoroki is looking at Midoriya confused, Izuku's saying, looking at you using only your ice, it sickens me, infuriates me. You don't understand the many nights I begged, I prayed to get a power, anything. but never to gain anything. Just the monkey that everybody called me. A useless deku that doesn't even have a quirk gene in his blood. And now, looking at you, you're refusing to use your fire? Words cannot describe how frustrated I am with you. As Todoroki looks into him saying, well, why do you care? As Midoriya said, I care because there are people in the world like me who wish to have at least some power that you have. And yet you're here, standing, completely discriminating your power and calling it somebody else when it's your own power that you were born with. And yet you don't use it. It just makes me want to kick you into oblivion. As Todoroki is so surprised of Midoriya's outburst. He never saw Midoriya so angry, so frustrated. He usually always so calm and a bit, taunty at times, if that's a word. However, when Todoroki looks into Midoriya, Izuku continues saying, and that's why I'm gonna make you use your fire. It's not because of your father. It's not because I'm your enemy, and it's not because I hate you. It's because that you need to realize how much you've been blessed. Because on the other side, there are people like me who aren't even able to live normally, who are looked as cursed. For my entire life, I was a cursed child, an unwanted brat. And you're just with all this power standing here, just ignoring it, throwing it into the sidelines, only using half of it. Just make me want to kill you. As Todoroki suddenly feels so off. His worldview got tested by Midoriya. He doesn't understand, but Midoriya seems to be saying the truth. Every time he heard Midoriya talk before, this sounded like he was always lying, like he's masking something. But now, seeing some tears in his eyes and absolute furious face, he thinks that he now understands. As Midoriya continues saying, because I need to do this. People like you do not have to try. People like you can just be good from the starts. But people like me have to do shortcuts and cheat. And that's why I made a deal with your father. Because if I didn't do that, I would just stay behind and be left behind like always. And I just can't face it anymore. I will never be the weakling ever again. As immediately he rushes towards Todoroki as Todoroki makes an ice wall in front of him to protect himself from Midoriya's punch, which Midoriya punched through the wall of the ice and broke it before grabbing into Todoroki's, clothes and threw him across the ring as Todoroki managed to stop himself with an ice slide to protect him from going through, out of the ring. As Todoroki, thinks for a minute. In that moment, Midoriya could have punched him out of the ring or even knocked him out, but he didn't. As he looks into Midoriya, as Midoriya said, the power that you hold is your power, not his, so use it! As Todoroki finally snaps, he sees all of Midoriya's emotion piling into the surface. He's saying, that's really how you feel? As Midoriya starts feeling the heat coming from Todoroki. As he starts seeing sparks, and Todoroki smiles saying, if that's so, then I shall do as you say. As immediately he starts glowing with amazing bright flames, and Midoriya suddenly gulps his throat before getting a smile on his face saying, alright, now that's more like it. As Midoriya getting ready to attack Todoroki, and in that minute when Todoroki was about to prepare his final attack, suddenly some ice shards being thrown at him, hitting his left arm. As when Todoroki looks, he sees Midoriya through those ice shards, as he remembered when his ice was breaking and Midoriya crashing it. Izuku have managed to collect a few shards of ice to use them as projectiles on Todoroki. However, he kept them in this specific moment to get Todoroki off of his guard, and before Todoroki even managed to use his flames, Izuku immediately jumps on him and hit him on the back of his head, knocking him out. As in that moment everybody is silent, Todoroki was about to blast Midoriya with his strongest attack, yet Midoriya have managed to knock him out before that comes. An Endeavor in the sidelines, he cannot believe it. Midoriya won. Present Mike and everybody is just silent. And when Midoriya looks left and right, he just looks into everybody silent, even Present Mike. He's like, hello? Are you gonna... huh? As finally Present Mike is like, oh yeah, Izuku Midoriya wins! Surprisingly. Man, what the hell is that crazy? What kind of regime does he have? Anyway, as Midoriya is winning, everybody starts cheering up. Endeavor is surprised by that. He watched the battle. And when Midoriya looks left and right into the stadium, he sees Endeavor in the sidelines looking, with his eyes absolutely shocked. Of course, Endeavor came closer when he saw Todoroki use his fire. He was excited, but then the excitement all flew out of his eyes, as he just stares into Midoriya, and Midoriya stares at him with a smirk on his face. And just like he imagined, the look on Endeavor's face is priceless. As Todoroki is taken away to the hospital to get himself checked out, and Midoriya goes also to the cover girl to be healed a bit. When he goes into the cover girl found his body shaking, shivering, because of low temperature, as she wondered what happened to him and that Todoroki have frozen him, and Midoriya said, it's okay, my body is strong enough to handle it. Although, thank God he was also being hurt by his ice. If he was a bit faster, perhaps I would have lost. As Midoriya is still thinking in his head about Todoroki and how he started screaming at him a moment ago. But in the end, after their cover girl comforts him and everything, the final battle comes. Midoriya versus Bakugo. And when they both enter the ring, Bakugo stares dead into Midoriya and Midoriya stares dead eyes into Bakugo. Both of them look at each other and Bakugo was about to talk, but Midoriya said, oh, cut the crap. I don't want to hear a word from you. Don't you start telling me that you're gonna win and you're gonna beat me and stuff like that. You already said that for about 15 years ago. Keep your mouth shut and just fight, will you? Or is that too much for you? As Bakugo, looking at this, he just stays silent. Before immediately, Present Mike says, begin! And in that moment, Midoriya crouches down, rushes into Bakugo. As Bakugo immediately in his face, Midoriya appears. He tried to throw an explosion with his right arm, but Midoriya saw that coming. He grabbed Bakugo's arm and flipped him over his head, slamming him to the ground. But he wasn't over. With his other hand, he grabbed Bakugo and threw him over his head again into the opposite side, and then jumped on Bakugo before twisting his arm and breaking it, with Bakugo screaming as loud as ever. Immediately in that moment, he using an explosion, throwing it into the ground, releasing himself from Midoriya's grip and causing Midoriya to go back. His Bakugo arm is twisted and broken. His right arm is finished. If he throws an explosion with that arm, it will hurt him. As he's looking into his arm, if he touches it, it's gonna hurt. And if he moves too much, it will hurt. As he looks into Midoriya, and Midoriya said, I know you better than anyone here. I know your weakness, and I know that overusing your explosion causes the bone in your arms to hurt. And I wonder what will it do to you if the bone in your arm was already broken. Perhaps it will gonna give you a permanent damage. Perhaps you'll never be able to be a hero if your body is broken, right? So I suggest not moving that arm or using explosion through it. Right? Kachan? As Buck said, you little piece of... As he immediately shot a giant explosion towards Midoriya, which Midoriya started running around Bakugo in circles, and circles and circles, as everybody's seeing Midoriya so fast. Like ridiculously fast. Even faster than before. All Might watching this, thing down below, he said, was he holding back before? As in the Todoroki that's watching the battle, he wonders where was all that speed when he was facing against Midoriya. Was it because he was chatting? Was it because he wasn't going all out? Was it because he was feeling tired? Why is he now, of all times, being so quick and fasty? And the true answer for that is that Midoriya right now is on an adrenaline rush. He's going as crazy as ever for overdrive. As Baku tried to throw another explosion, but before that, Midoriya jumps on Baku from the back and punched him in his stomach, right in the guts, causing Baku to spit out a ridiculous amount of blood right into Midoriya's face. As before he being thrown out of the ring, Baku throws an explosion and barely was about to cross the line as Midoriya swiped the blood off of his face, saying, disgusting. As Midoriya looks into Baku, saying, what's the matter, big dog? Weren't you always the greatest in the whole class? Why are you having such trouble against a monkey like me right now? Right in front of everybody. You know what will they call this day? I'll tell you what will they call it. They call it the day that a quirkless child managed to win the sport festival for the first time in history. They're gonna remember me as a legend. As for you, you'll be remembered as my last obstacle. As Bakugo saying, in your dreams, you little... As he immediately goes and attacks Midoriya. But this time, Midoriya rushes into Bakugo. He isn't holding back anymore. Bakugo, seeing Midoriya going straight at him with his left arm, throws an explosion. But Midoriya doesn't even bother to dodge. He takes the hit and punishes Bakugo's face through the smoke. As Bakugo being thrown away, he sees Midoriya's right arm is covered with the burn marks, but Midoriya is ignoring it. He doesn't care. All what he cares right now is to beat Bakugo senseless. As Bakugo right now looking into his right arm, seeing that he's right now he is in half his power. And Midoriya knows Bakugo's weakness better than anybody. The longer the fight goes, the stronger Bakugo gets. So, what's better way than to disarm him? Literally. Anyway, as Bakugo getting ready thinking about what should he do, Midoriya is already moving and going straight to Bakugo as Midoriya grabs Bakugo's face, slams him to the ground before Bakugo with his left arm tried to throw an explosion to Midoriya, which Midoriya dodges barely, jumping out of the way. As Bakugo, tried to stand up, but his face is a bit bleeding. His left arm starts hurting him even though it isn't broken, and his right arm is completely screwed. As right now he looks into Midoriya and Midoriya said, what's the matter? Having a harsh time against a monkey like me? Wasn't I always the weakling? Wasn't I supposed to be useless? Aren't I the useless Deku you always faced? Or are you just in denial to know that this quirkless kid have broken your arms about 3 times in the last year when you were trying to bully me? No wonder you stopped, because if I kept beating you every time we fought it in middle school, you would have been just a fodder and everybody will call you a weakling. As Bug saying, shut up, you little disgusting quirkless. As Midoriya said, yep, I'm quirkless, so what about it? I got something better than a quirk. I got this body. A body that is, quite frankly, better than yours right now. And I'm gonna use it to break you. As immediately he rushes towards Bakugo. Bakugo immediately tried to block Midoriya's attack by putting his left arm in front of him to protect himself, but is that even a defense anymore? Midoriya grabbed Bakugo's left arm and just pushes it up in the air and just looks into Bakugo straight in the eyes. Bakugo throws explosion through his right arm, but Midoriya is holding into his wrist, causing him, not letting him to even aim correctly on Midoriya. As Bakugo stares right into Midoriya's eyes, with Midoriya right now at this point is just toying, not fighting anymore. So Midnight wonder if she should stop the fight and what they should do exactly. This is the same kid that was literally beating everybody's a moment ago. They thought that Bakugo would have a better chance at fighting, but this is just ridiculous. As immediately Midoriya starts squeezing Bakugo's wrist, saying, what's the matter? I'm too strong for you. As in that moment of desperation, Bakugo with his right arm threw an explosion into Midoriya, which caused him to scream and yell in pain. As immediately Midoriya goes back a bit with his shirt a bit burned, and Midoriya said, "Is he serious? Idiot." Although expected from Bakugo. As Midoriya said, "Didn't I tell you you'll get a kill yourself if you do that? You don't want your hero career to end here, do you?" As Bakugo said, "I'm gonna beat you, you little... Ugh." As he starts running on Midoriya to try and throw explosion, and Midoriya said, "Okay, I guess it's time to end this." As Midoriya rushes towards Bakugo, and both of them going with a punch. However, Midoriya was a lot faster, as he punched Bakugo through the stomach, which caused Bakugo this time to just being thrown out of the ring and rolling on the ground. And everybody seeing Bakugo out of the ring. It wasn't even a battle. What was that? Somebody said. It was just a... Was that even a battle? How is that kid quirkless? As Midnight says, Izuku Midoriya wins. Katsuki Bakugo is out of bound. As immediately, the Recovery Girl and the robots rushes into Bakugo's need because right now his arm is so... Well, it's just broken. It's need healing immediately. As right now, President Mike and everybody in the stadium start cheering out all of a sudden because this is just so amazing. He managed to win. A quirkless kid managed to win. Immediately, Aizawa is surprised by that. And even President Mike. But President Mike was a bit too silent, so Aizawa handled this situation and he immediately said that Izuku Midoriya wins. The quirkless child. Yes, you heard me right. And I don't want to hear anybody of you start giving theories and saying that he's not. He is quirkless, whether you liked it or not, so just take it. As well, everybody start cheering. After Midoriya gets healed up and Bakugo gets healed up by Recovery Girl, everybody is standing on the stadium to get their medals. Of course, Bakugo is in second place. He's standing there, clenching his fist in anger, looking down. Todoroki is not there because he didn't get any medals, and, Tokiyami and Ida were supposed to have the third place, but Ida isn't there right now. And Midoriya is in first place. So, first, All Might gives a medal to Todoroki for how amazing he was and everything. The second medal is for Bakugo, telling him that he fought it bravely, but he should, watch his anger a bit more. It might be his downfall. But Bakugo is just quiet, he's silent, so All Might just put the silver medal on his head. And finally, Izuku Midoriya, as All Might looks into Midoriya saying, "My kid, Izuku Midoriya, you have showed us great potential. You are a quirkless child, yet you showed so much power and potential. More than somebody with a quirk have. I am proud to give you that." As immediately Midoriya said, "Quit talking and just give it to me already. Don't think just because you're delivering the medals that mean that I'm gonna accept your apology. Because quite frankly, I still hate you." As All Might said, "Oh, alright." As he was about to put it on Midoriya's neck, but Midoriya slaps his hand away and grabbed it out of All Might's hand. And just held it in his arm. That's it. All Might is feeling a bit ashamed of that and quite a bit weirded out, but I guess the kid still didn't forgive him. Though in the cameras, when everybody recorded that, seeing how Midoriya just, kinda slapped All Might hand away and the look on his face, it seemed that those two have history. Regardless of which, All Might introduced the winners of the sport festival, and everybody goes home. And this will leave it off, guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment down below, tell me what you think about this part, and what do you think will gonna happen in the next part. Well, I have nothing more to say than Savage was here.